we've debated on this a little bit, but the one thing that I have noticed that I do think is very much in Trump's corner, there is a very large anti-war movement growing in this country, and it's happening on both sides. It's happening on the very populist right. You could call them whatever you want, but there is no question that a significant portion of them are sick of the military-industrial complex. They believe that DeSantis is a neocon. He's disguising himself as one, not being so. They believe that Trump is anti-war, even though he's technically not. There's something to be said for that fervor of movement because
he didn't start one.
We don't have it in the Democratic Party right now. And the Democratic Party, honestly, how could you have it in the Democratic Party where every neocon in the GOP who hated Trump was welcomed with open arms into the Democratic Party establishment? So they're going to get it from somewhere. And I do believe that that is the one significant issue, particularly when it comes to foreign policy, that I do believe could carry the day for Trump. And that matters a lot to people. I don't think Trump cares one way or the other regarding war, as far as I'm concerned. He's so narcissistically driven that for him, getting back into the White House, ending the conflict in Ukraine, and totally getting my Nobel Peace Prize. That's his motivation.
Well, I think there's something, Peter, you and I have talked about it, but I think there's something that is possibly a game changer. I actually think particularly what came out today, if you haven't noticed, the DOJ has been leaking more stuff about the classified documents every other day. Yeah. It's now coming out that there's audio of Trump talking about having classified documents about American attack plans on Iran and talking about wanting to share them with people. I don't think it's an if at this point. He's definitely going to be prosecuted over the classified documents. I mean, it's just too much there. It's just a matter of the timeline of could you start a trial before the election? I don't know if they could move that fast. I think there is a chance that Trump would make a deal, which would include a glorified house arrest and not running again. Because the severity of this, I mean, I understand I'll show me when a rich white guy, but you're talking about not just having the documents, but possibly sharing them with people. He's on tape acknowledging that they were classified, which totally disregards the whole I waved a wand and declassified defense. I think it's very possible that Trump could just, the deep state, it was a deep state coup against me. And, they came after our movement, but bows out because there's more of a chance of Donald Trump killing himself than seeing in the inside of a prison. So I would not discount that DeSantis could win by default.
Yeah, look, they've been trying to find a way to keep Trump from running again. That's ultimately what the goal is to find some way to keep him from running again. And I don't know that any of the things right now are going to keep him from running again.
Yeah.
And the more they go after him, it's almost like it just keeps sort of martyring him.
I'm totally persecuted. I'm the most persecuted
but his people just dig in
history.
more. It doesn't serve them to go after him. Look, I'll believe it when I see it. That's all I could say about it. If they can ever really land something with him and have it stick, I'll believe it when I see it.
And as I've said many times before, if we were living in normal times, in a time when our society was actually doing its job, we do not have a functioning republic. We just don't. We're living at a time where things are really, really bad. And despite this article that Jordan just shared with us, which I will put up on the screen real quick before he goes, this is very important stuff that I do think people do care about. Let me rephrase, that people probably should care about. Bombshell and MAL investigation, audio recording in which Trump acknowledges he held onto a classified Pentagon document about a potential attack on Iran. Now, whatever his motivation was for that, this is a lengthy description from Ryan Goodman.
He's an attorney. He's basically been right on pretty much most of the Trump stuff, but he's pointing out this would fall under the Espionage Act. I have problems with the Espionage Act because it's been abused, against Assange. But, But this is, when you're potentially sharing with people who don't have clearances, like American war plans, and we could point out the American war machine. That's as That's as espionage as it gets. But I think they would give him a slap on the wrist, like house arrest, based on, Jen and I both agree they don't want him to ever see the White House again.
No.
But I mean, anybody other than Donald Trump they'd put him in solitary confinement for most of this stuff. So
yeah, basically what I'm getting from this is that there is obviously a significant neocon portion of the State Department that really wants war with Iran. They are hell bent on having it. This has been talks ever since 1979. And
we'd be there if Hillary was in office.
I would agree. We would be.
We'd already be in war with Iran.
Listen, we were lucky enough to have General Wesley Clark on the podcast. He talked about this. This is the end game in many ways. And maybe this is, look, we don't know what the details are. It's classified. But one can assume one of two things. Is he trying to do business with Iran? Or is he somebody who sees a potential world war circumstance if we were to basically start a war with them, which of course is John Bolton's wet dream? So one can only guess exactly what the motivation is here. But I agree with you. If they feel that they've got an espionage case to go after him on, it's very likely that they're going to do it because they do not want him in the White House again under any circumstances.
The fact that his lawyers asked Merrick Garland to meet, that's typically what they do, like as a last ditch effort, because they think he's going to be indicted. So of all these cases, the Stormy Daniels thing, I don't really think is anything. Legally, it's not. I don't think he's going to be convicted. Nope. January 6th. He should, but it's hard to prove that unless you have some type of smoking gun, that he is the. But this is, pretty black and white. You have documents. You were instructing people to move them after being subpoenaed. You have documents on human sources, i.e., spies, which is a no-no. If you piss off the CIA. The FBI in American history, it didn't really work out well for.
Well,
JFK.
That's ultimately how they'll keep him from running again. That's the truth. Like it's like they're going to try to do it like somewhat legitimately, I suppose. But if they really want to keep him from running again, if the deep state don't want him there, they'll deal with it. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.